Hello and welcome to Sweet Spot DFS. This is a preview for the Mayakoba Golf Classic. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Leave a like, subscribe, all that good stuff. What I typically do in these preview videos, I go over course information, course history, recent form, and then I look at a bunch of, or a variety of stats to try to pinpoint or narrow our player pool. And those include looking at last year's result as well as last week's result, and I put that in kind of like a bucket system. I look at tee time pairings, grass stats, and swing stats. I hope to have that in the description by the time you watch this, so you can go down there, and if you want to get to a certain point, you can totally do that. So we'll get into the course information right away. The golf course that they're going to be playing at is El Camaleon Golf Club in Carmen del Playa. Nope, I said that backwards. Playa del Carmen, Mexico. Golf course is a very short golf course. The winds can get pretty heavy because it's on the coast. So I would say golfers that have good accuracy, and you're going to hear this from anyone else in the industry, they're basically everyone is looking for great golfers who have great approach and great driving accuracy. Which I'm not gonna say that's a wrong thing, but I don't know exactly. I bet you anything that's not going to fully determine who's going to do well at this golf course. Anyways, it's a par 71, around 7,000 yards. It's gonna play under that most of the time, maybe even every single round of golf, but I wouldn't be surprised if they lengthen it a little bit, and because I think it's like 69.87, so getting 13 extra yards is going to be kind of easy. That's why I have 7,000. It's just kind of a ballpark figure. The grass type is a seashore paspalum, and we don't play, or I shouldn't say we. The PGA Tour doesn't really play on seashore paspalum. They have in the past, and I don't have the data, so I wasn't able to pull any of that information, but it would only have been like one other golf course, maybe two. So we're not going to go over grass stats this week because we don't really have any. And the designer is Greg Norman. I don't know any of the golf courses on tour that are Greg Norman, but I know there are a couple, if maybe just one other one. So I'm not going to make that a priority to look into either. Let's go ahead and get into the spreadsheet. I'm going to pull up the course history tab. So you can see all my tabs down here. They're kind of marked like you would know them. So like course history, CH, DK, DraftKings, RF, recent form. And you can just see all the other ones that go across. But we're here at the course history tab. And I have it sorted by golfers who are playing this year, as well as their average, the best average in the field, basically. You can see Emiliano Grillo is at the top. He typically plays here pretty well. For his price this week, though, this isn't going to do it. So as much as it excites me to see Grillo up there, he is priced too high for like a 9th. You know, that's his best finish. So I'm probably not going to play a lot of him. I do like Keegan Bradley for his price, though. 1150 is fantastic. And I'm going to do this right now so you guys can see kind of some golfers that I'm into. So I'm getting rid of these high scores, and it's going to bring down their recent or their course history average quite a bit. I only wanted to point that out because Scott Piercy had a withdraw in 2014. So minus that, he has really, really good course history. And Bryce Garnett, which probably most of you people don't even know of. I mean, he does pretty decent in a lot of the alternate events. You know, like if there is a major, they'll have a tournament in the Dominican Republic, you know, or Puerto Rico. He does well in those tournaments. So this is kind of one of those tournaments. I think Bryce Garnett's a pretty decent play. He would have the second best course history, followed by, Scott Piercy would be preceding him. But I'm going to go ahead and bring those back so you guys can see, you know, a pretty good idea who does well here most of the time. And you can almost use this information as kind of like the grass stats, because this is the only golf course. I wouldn't say you have to. It's just easier to just do by course history. Okay, so let's go ahead and get to the recent form. What I like to do week to week is kind of look at, so this is the 2020. Obviously, we don't have a result here. OHL used to be the old tournament. I'll change this sooner or later to MGL. That used to be the sponsor of this tournament. OHL, that is. So you can see they were off last week. There was a European tour or a tour event, but I don't pull European tour events into this unless it's like the British Open. I'm not going to. I don't really care too much for it. Okay, so what I do, let's go ahead and get into the 2019. That way we can see a result and you guys can follow along with what I'm looking at. First of all, I like to see in the top 10 how many different recent form ranges that we have. And they're color coded, so I mean, I usually go by 20 or 20 and under, 20 to 40, 40 to 60, 60 to 80, and then greater than 80, which is typically a miscut and a withdraw. Sometimes, over the last 5 years, there have been ties that lead up to 85th or whatever, but that's really uncommon. So I will go ahead every week, look at this, and we can just do that like really quick. We can do a pretty quick snapshot of what that looks like. And you're going to see basically rainbow colors. You're just going to see a bunch of different recent form averages. We don't have anything higher than 60 or 60 and above, I should say, in 2017. But in 2016, you've got 3. Again, you've got yellow, orange, green. That means of all the different ranges. Basically, what I'm trying to show you here is it doesn't matter what the recent form is coming in. If it was all green, I'd say, well, only the hot golfers that are coming into this tournament are going to do well. But that's not what we see. We just see it's wide open, basically. And that goes every single year. Of course, I like to try to pinpoint and look at the top 5, which I think is much more beneficial when you're trying to pinpoint. So we're going to see a bunch of golfers that are in that 20 to 40 range. And one of the other things that I have over here on the side is just kind of a way to capture that information. Basically, these numbers down here are the total of golfers that fall under these buckets. So like the recent form under 20. How many were there in 2019? Well, there were 9. How many finished inside the top 5? 0. How many finished inside the top 10? Only 2. And then you can go over and say, okay, who were those golfers? Aaron Wise and Cameron Champ. Okay, well, at that time last year, not really well-known players. Aaron Wise, probably because he had won the year before. And Cam Champ, just because he was coming up and he was going to, good things were going to happen for him. Well, at least that's what people would have forecasted for him. And then we can also, go every other year and see like 15 golfers that had 20 or better. And don't get me wrong. I know I can hear the pessimists talk, say, well, that's just because there aren't a lot of golfers inside that range, which I would agree with you. There aren't a lot of golfers if we go year by year and look at all the different numbers or, how many fell into those buckets. But the fact of the matter remains, you saw it. It doesn't matter what the recent form is. You shouldn't stick to one or the other. It's just going to be, it's just going to vary. And there isn't a way to kind of track, okay, this year we're going to see a bunch of these golfers do well. One thing that I did try to do is kind of do a combination of last year with course history and or recent form, and I never really came across anything. What is interesting though is there's a lot of golfers who did not play the year before, and it doesn't matter if they had course history or not. And in fact, if you want to look at the course history here, every single year you'll find that no one is in the green. Again, color coded. 20 to 40, or I should say 20 and under is green. That means they have really good course history. course, we have one here. Jason Bone, actually, really good course history. I know of him, and it doesn't surprise me why he's not here, but okay, so we don't have course history for 2015 or 2014. Yeah, what I would have done is I would have also compared, what was the last week result compared to the recent form. But the fact of the matter remains they were off last week. So we're not going to look at last week's scores. And I'm not even going to use 2 weeks ago because it's just they had a week off. You wouldn't have a week off if there was a golf tournament last week, So we're not going to do that, which is where I would have gone from here. From recent form, I would have went to kind of the buckets. What I will do, we will talk about the last year buckets. I have 2019 to 2015 here. Usually what I do is compare how many variations do we see year to year of last year and last week. And this is based off of a bucket system that I create by capturing the data and ranking it based off of basically how many players fall into those brackets or those buckets. I have a count over here of what is in each of these line items. Obviously you can see I am counting that or a sum function. You can see the total here, obviously 10 higher than any of the other numbers. That's why it's ranked 1. And then we would go find all the other numbers. If there's a tie, I usually give the better range, the better range, which obviously is a better result. So 1 to 20 would be a better range than 80 plus, which would be a missed cut. Sometimes that's not the case. I mean, sometimes I would value a missed cut more than I would a top 20. But as you can see, for last year, this is what I'm looking at. And for top 5, you can see at least one golfer who finished or who did not play the year before finish inside the top 5. So that is an important stat in my opinion. And we'll get to that when we get to the DK page. We will be pinpointing golfers who finished, I use the top 10 bucket here. So this was top 5 that I was showing you. I'll come down here and do top 10 and we'll use these numbers. There's obviously way more there's more golfers in these or in the top 10 bucket than there is the top 5. So basically the bucket score is just slightly different for the top 10 than top 5. That's why I was about to say I'm going to pinpoint golfers who were top 20 last year as well as did not play. And the did not play, you're going to see at least 3 golfers who did not play inside the top 10. You see at least 1 inside the top 5 that did not play the year before. But minus that 1, if you get rid of this one, it was 2. I'm going to pinpoint 2 golfers who did not play last year. I'm going to go somewhere between 2 and 4, essentially. I might change it up and go up and down, but basically I'm pinpointing golfers who did not play, as well as golfers who finished inside the top 20. And then I'll just go down from there for the colors. 40 to 60, 60 to 80 in the top 10, 4 and 3 is what their the count is. Not very good. So although we do see them, I would rather come up here and look to see what their how many finished inside the top 5. Because again, week to week we want to find someone first, second, and third. Sometimes that can be fourth. And then the 4th golfer is another guy that finished inside the top 10, and then the other 2 to round out our 6 golfers finish inside the top 20. It'd be nice to get all 6 of them inside the top 10. That's why I use the top 10 bucket score. And basically, if I see something very consistent, like 3 or more, obviously for did not play, I'm gonna follow that pretty hard. Okay, so that's the last year bucket score. We'll go to tee times now. I have not looked at tee times. There are 132 golfers in this field, so I'm going to try to go through this pretty fast and just kind of give you a rundown of what I'm looking at. If you had looked at I think the review I did for the Zozo, or maybe it was for the WGC, golfers were asked to rate who they would rather play with. And we have one of those golfers. We actually have two of those golfers in the field this week. So Charles Howell III, Harold Varner III. So the thirds, they're golfers that people like to play with. Actually, we have all three. Kevin Kisner's the number one golfer people like to play with. So we'll look at that. Golfers people don't like to play with are slow golfers like Rory Sabatini, Bryson DeChambeau. I can't think of anyone else. I guarantee you Keegan Bradley's probably one of them too. There was a third name and I can't remember it. But anyways, let's get through these as quick as we possibly can. This is an interesting group. I'm just going to rank them as a 2. They're all veterans, solid players. This is I kind of like this group too, but they are very volatile. That's all I'm going to go with that. Another interesting group. Oh my God. Very talented golfers here. Sure. So a bunch of 2s already. That it's, I guess, no surprise. Miliana Grillo is playing with Brian Stewart and Aaron Baddeley. I don't like that group at all. Here's your Sabatini. So I guess I'm gonna just avoid that group. It's not one of those things that it should be a clear-cut answer. Like any of these golfers could actually do well. So like saying I'm not gonna play the group because of Sabatini is a bit bullish, but whatever. I'm gonna go with that. I'm gonna live with that this week. Yeah, I like this group. I like Keith Mitchell and Siwoo Kim. I do like Siwoo Kim this week, so I'm just gonna mark those 2. Davis Love, I don't think really has a shot. Interesting group here. I'm not gonna play anyone other than Keegan. Another interesting group, I think Fratelli is good. I bet he pushes Poston. And Hudson Swafford has the ability to play well. Here we go. Kevin Kisner. Here we're getting kind of into primetime golf pairings. Kisner, McDowell, and Horschel. I like any of those golfers pairing up with each other. And I might even put all 3 of them on a lineup just for the hell of it. I don't think they're all going to find the top 5. So with that kind of logic, we would want to kind of do like a salary analysis and basically play less of the more expensive golfers. So I think that's Billy Horschel in this case. I think Graham McDowell's pretty cheap. I think he's like 6,800. Can't remember if he's in my mid tier or low play. He's in the mid tier. So I think he's 7,000 something. Scott Piercy, I really like. I really like Russell Knox. And then there's Bryce Garnett, guy who has good course history. So that's worth a play. Oh my goodness. Look at all of these. This whole block here is just fire. And I mean, so we have back 9, front 9. It's actually not a bad group. Okay, so it starts up here. Okay, well, this whole block here is actually pretty darn good. Okay, good to know. Tony Finau is one of my favorite plays this week, so, and he's with Abraham Answer. I will be pairing those guys up together most likely. I really like Kevin Chappell, but it just doesn't look like it's his week this week. I do like him going forward though, and I always have liked Adam Long. Brendan Todd just won that alternate event 2 weeks ago, the Bermuda Championship, I think. Can't remember if it's a championship or an open. I think it's a championship. So I don't know how that looks for him going forward. He's a solid golfer, so don't get me wrong. Like all of these golfers here, pretty solid. And in fact, I'll just give them 3s because I like them. I like Luke Donald this week for how much he costs. So in just based off of that means I must like the group because I do like Pat Perez. Aaron Wise, too expensive. I'm not going to play Wise, so I'm just going to remove that actually. Which is going to come back and haunt me, I'm sure. It's hard to go through this fast when you like a bunch of golfers. I like Xinjun Zhang and Robbie Shelton. I don't care for this group here. This is an interesting group. I like Scheffler and I like Streb. Sloan is okay. I guess I'll put that there. I'm not really narrowing this down for you guys. except for now, because now I'm not seeing anything that I like at all. Nothing. Callum Hill, he's kind of on a tear in the European tour. Someone to look into. Same with Harry Higgs. He was leading that Bermuda tournament until I think Brendan Todd put up a 64 or 66. I mean, so Higgs is a golfer to look at in the future. I hear he's kind of a funny dude, so he might even be worth the watch. I like those two. No idea who Jimmy Stenger is, but I'll put twos next to them. I really like Mark Hubbard this week. I guess pairing him with James Hahn. Hahn is usually known as a ball striker, so that's not a bad play. This is actually a really good group. I don't know how... Bo Hosler's like a bent grass. He's like a bent grass specialist, so I'd play him on any bent grass course. I don't know what Seashore Pass Palom's like. I've never played on it, so I don't even have an analysis from personal experience, and I haven't heard of it from anyone else. So I don't quite know. I mean, that's a pretty good group. I'm just going to mark that as a 3. Again, we got to watch. I mean, Chris Kirk has to be watched for... This is the first tournament coming back from kind of omitting himself as an alcoholic. So we have to watch that. Great ball striking group here. Russell Henley can get super hot, so that's worth a play. I really like Patrick Rogers, and seeing him in this group makes me like him even more. Finally kind of come into some golfers that I'm not sure I want to play. I like Landry, so I'm going to put those as a 2. Interesting group here. I like CT Pan. Pan actually, when we get to the DK page, you're going to see something about CT Pan that is very helpful. I like that. Or I like that he's paired with these guys. I like this group too. Austin Cook should actually be in the low price plays going by. Probably should... I should have replaced maybe Donald or Landry with Cook. He's like $6,800. And he fits the mold of golfers we want to play this week. So this group here I like a lot. I should just put as 1s. Here's Harold Varner III, one of the most popular golfers on tour, playing with Spawn. I think that's very helpful. Carlos Ortiz actually has really good recent form coming into this, so it might be worth a play. It's not a bad group. Not gonna... Okay, I'll give him like 3. There we go. Now we're kind of getting into... Or no, we're not. Why is Victor Hovland with kind of some relatively unknowns? Interesting, because Hovland has, of the top guy, the best accuracy off the tee. Interesting. I have no idea. Huh. This is Carlos Ortiz's brother. So you see Carlos Ortiz and Alvaro. I don't think that really means anything. Just wanted to point it out. Okay. I don't see anyone else that I really care for. At least not a pairing that I care to talk about. So we have a bunch of golfers that we like, which is unfortunate because we don't want to widen the player pool. We want to narrow it. Okay. Done with the tee times. Let's get right into the DK page. Let's try to get through this. Okay, so tee times, we can get rid of a lot of these things here because we just talked about them. You can see the last year bucket score over here on the left. So we got all of our golfers color coded based off of that. Course history, I like that. Here's our driving accuracy stat. So let's go ahead and put the filter on. So if we look at driving accuracy really quickly, our best driving accuracy guy is Brian Stewart. And this is information that gets through to the Bermuda. Unfortunately, what I should have done is put how many events this is going after, that it's looking at. Well, I was planning to do that, but obviously I didn't get around to it. A lot of low price guys right here. I mean, I don't know if I feel comfortable playing any of these golfers. Ryan Armour, sure. Brennan Todd, sure. Brian Stewart, yeah. The rest of them, I mean, Doc Redman is a good young kid coming up and should play decent. I'd put him in kind of the same category as Bo Hosler, like that kind of mold where it's like should do better than what he's doing, but kind of stuck in a rut. And then we get kind of to some meteor golfers, like golfers that we would want to pick from. We would want to choose. Emiliano Grillo, 8,900. Like I had said, I'm not too keen on playing him. That seems like a pretty expensive, but I guess if we make an a well-rounded lineup, which let's see what that would look like. So let's go ahead and put Grillo. I've got my DK lineups page here, so it'll keep track of how much salary we have left. So we can kind of do something like this. I do like Knox, so I'm going to go ahead and play him. So we got 7,700 left. Probably come up here and grab. Should we grab Stewart? Sure. Stewart can bring down that price a little bit. I'll put him over here. So 8,100. Go ahead and put Pat Perez on that team. Sure. Now, I want to find another dark green golfer. I guess I don't really care what the price is. I do want it somewhat close. So Harry Higgs kind of steps up. Brennan Todd, I guess, does as well. Do I really like them that much, though? Should we go like someone like Russell Henley? I don't mind Russell Henley at all. It's close. We have 8,100 left. Sure, why not? So, I mean, that's, to me, a pretty solid lineup. Just based off of accuracy, if you wanted to go by accuracy. I'm going to leave that there because I'm going to put it in a lineup. Go ahead. Feel free to copy me. I don't care. But I just wanted to go over the driving accuracy. Just, you know, see who's at the top here. Victor Hovland, like I said, you know, the highest priced guy that has the best accuracy. Billy Horschel might actually be a better play based off of value. I don't think you'd go wrong playing Billy Horschel. I think he's a good play this week. All right, so what do we want to look at when creating these lineups? Well, obviously it's going to be salary, and it's going to be this last year bucket score. Again, I don't have anything. I'm looking at course history, how many are blank. I'm looking at last year's score here, result, to see who didn't play and kind of pairing them together in a way. So I do like Jason Day. I'm going to play him in a bunch of lineups. In fact, I like these three golfers right here. I usually make 40 lineups a week. I am not too keen on who to play, so that's 11 lineups. Just go 10. I just like 10, 10, 10, and then the last 10 that I have left, I'm just gonna keep open to anybody, really. Now I can mix and match these golfers too. So although I'm putting them in 10 lineups, it's just like a comfortable number for me. I could go ahead and do something like this. You know, this, we don't, obviously there's not a lot left when it comes to salary, but I like that. I like that a lot. What we can do to kind of narrow down our pool, like I said before, we want to find at least 2 golfers that are in the last year bucket score of 1, which means did not play, as you can tell here. And if we look at like the combination of, you know, like how many times do we find a 1 inside the top 5? Quite a bit. How many won the golf tournament? A few. I think we're going to be okay selecting some. I like to look at the numbers here and determine, well, what's my min max of how many I want to play. Well, in the top 5, 1, at least 1, up to 3. in the top 10, at least 3 up to 7. I'm gonna do like in like maybe 15% of my lineups, I'll just only have 1. But in all of my lineups, let's put it this way, I think out of my 40, 2 of them aren't gonna have a last year 1. Otherwise, the rest of them are. We're gonna have 1s in all of our lineups. Of those that have 1s in them, I might have 3 to 5 that only just have 1. Otherwise, I will have 2, 3, 4, something along that line. What we can do here, go ahead, sort by that, and just see how many 1s do we have. So I can scroll down here. I look, there's 59 golfers that have a last year bucket 1. Well, of those, how many do we absolutely love? And then we can kind of come over here and star the golfers that we like. I'm going to go ahead. There's Keegan Bradley. Okay, so he's 8,600. I thought he was a little cheaper. I still kind of want to play him. I think it's pretty decent. Now I'm going to come down here and look at some of these golfers that have good driving accuracy. Brandon Wu, I don't really care too much. The dark colors here mean they're in the bottom of the... I should say they're in the bottom of the field in driving accuracy of stats we can see from the PGA Tour. Some of these golfers don't even have driving accuracy stats, so we can't even determine. But I can guarantee you I like these guys right here now that I see their names. Graham Dillette's kind of an interesting play. So is Ben Martin. Ben Martin's been dealing with injuries. I don't know if he's healed from them, but I mean, might be worth a play. I don't really care for some of these other guys. Now I'm kind of like looking at course history, recent form, you know, Rafael Campos maybe. Sure, might as well put a star next to him. What we can do also is put some X's to some golfers we know we're not going to play. One thing I didn't talk about was the OWGR, which is the official world golf ranking. So you can obviously see some of these are populated with it, and I only have the top 300. And I'm just kind of going through some of these because I don't know most of them, or I've seen some of them. So I'll just remove. Yeah, I don't know some of these golfers, so don't feel bad for crossing off something. Okay, that's probably it. I know Bo Hogue. He actually was in the top 5, I think, after Saturday's round at the Bermuda Championship. He's worth a good look. Zach Blair's worth the look for course history, driving accuracy. Maybe not so much approach, but I don't know. He's not a long hitter, so this helps him. He kind of can come back to the pack a little bit. I really like Mark Hubbard. Nick Watney, does he do anything? Scott Harrington, approach looks good. Here's okay, so Brandon Wu just has really good stats. I'll put a little mark next to him. Kyle Stanley, a good approach player, driving accuracy not the greatest, but I'm wondering if those, because it's going to be more controlled, I wonder if these are longer golf courses that he just doesn't have the greatest accuracy. I like Burgoon, but his stats, okay, so anyways, let's just do this. Go ahead, get rid of the X's so we don't have to look at them anymore, and then base our play off of these golfers. Oh, okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and sort this. So it's by price. We're gonna go ahead and put all of our 6K. I'll go 7.3 because that's kind of a huge jump between 8.6 and 7.3. I'll go ahead and do this. What I like to do is paste them over here. And that'll give me an idea of what I want to do. Actually, what I'm going to do. So again, I'm creating 40 lineups. What I'm going to do, come down here and basically get rid of, obviously we need one more lineup. So 3 to 5 is what I said, right? Like asked. This is what I'm gonna do. Get rid of Brandon Wu. I don't care for him so much. We're gonna do this, and out of 40 lineups, come up here and we're gonna randomize the range like I've talked about before. So now this leaves a couple blanks every, whatever. So in these lineups, obviously we can't do that with Jason Day because Jason Day is one of those golfers who did not play last year. So we'll go ahead. There we go. This is gonna help out a little bit more. Here we go. I want it this way because now Victor Hovland can be in a group where there are no ones. Tony Finau can be in a group where there are no ones. And obviously Jason Day is a 1. And we wouldn't want to put any of the blanks here, obviously, unless we just want one of them. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of one Brendan Todd. There. There's too many Brendan Todds in the Jason Day. Anyways, so that's what I'm going to do. The rest of those golfers, I can also pair these ones with. So the rest of them that are 1s, we don't need to actually copy Jason Day. Just copy those 3. Now we can sprinkle them in over here. All right, so I don't like that there's only 3. I want to grab a couple more golfers. Actually, this is what I'm going to do. I know what I'm going to do. We'll play them in... how many lineups is that? 15? Perfect. 15, and now I'm going to grab the rest of these guys. Lanto. So who do I not? I like all of these golfers. So I'm going to grab like 20, 12. Trying to see if I should make sure I include some of these. All right, whatever. So now I'm going to put those guys right here. I do it again. Gets me right to 40. That works. Except for we don't want that, right? Let's do one less of Keegan. So Scotty. Stanley. Probably one less of Adam Long. No. No, that's okay. This is good. I'm fine with this. So again, these empty spaces we want to make sure are continue to stay empty. That's going to be difficult. See, I gotta do something like this, right? We kind of already know. Oh boy. Right. Bring that up there. Hopefully you guys are understanding why I'm doing this. Camden Tringali is just gonna cut. I'm doing this because of what I had said before. We want some of these lineups not to have any 1s in them, but the rest of them I want at least 1. Sometimes I said 5 lineups. I was going to have just 1 of them, and obviously all of our Jason Day lineups is going to be difficult to do that. We can have that here. That's fine. Gooch. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to look at my salaries here, what's remaining, and then that's who I'm going to trim. Oh, can't do it with these. Okay, good to know. I mean, I guess I should have known that. Can't do that. So that actually, so Jason Day is a 1, but now we just have 1 here, which is good. We have 1 here. I like. Jason Day counts as 1, so that's 3 lineups now that just only have 1. And I can do something like this. Make more 1s. There we go. Perfect. Oh, this actually gets rid of space, right? Well, never mind. They weren't. Were they in? So I need to get rid of 1 more. Who do we want to get rid of? Adam Long? No, never mind. Sure. I mean, like, whatever. All right, I'm just gonna leave it like that. Yeah, that's probably a little too much, going a little too deep into it. Probably a little too slow, but this is exactly what I'm going to do with these lineups. This way, now I'm going to look at my salary, the average remaining salary, base my players that I like off of, or who I like that fit into that salary. I will just add here. I'm not going to worry about ownership of certain players. I will to an extent, but basically, if I'm comfortable playing somebody, I don't care how many times I play them. I'm going to continue playing them. But now I don't have to look at the 1s anymore. My 1s are pretty much covered. So those 60 golfers that we were looking at before, I can go ahead and just remove them from looking at. So we only have 1s. We'll get rid of the 1. There we go. Now I have, the rest to look at. I could literally probably get rid of the 5s because I don't know if any 5 that I like. I mean, there's some good golfers that are 5s. But I can get rid of some of these guys and not worry about it. I do like Joaquin. Yeah, let's go ahead and look at the 5s that we don't care to play. Like, I don't care to play him or him. This guy's questionable. I'm going to just X him out. Chappell, like I said, like, this doesn't look good. Recent form doesn't look good. Course history doesn't look good. If we were to look at all the recent forms, do we see like a light red to go with like a poor course history? Sure, we have a miscut. Nothing there. Ooh. Okay. We got 1. That's all we can really tell. Yeah, I'm gonna X him out. I don't really care. Unless his birdie or better percentage is high. Which he is middle of the pack, so I suppose when you shoot a 59, that probably helps. I'm just gonna remove that because I don't want to look stupid. I'll do it. 6s, I'm just gonna X out all the 6s. So now that we were talking about Keith Mitchell earlier, I just don't care. Damon might be a player I play just because based off of his stats. Oh, I'm trying to expand into Luke List's stats here. Okay, Patton Kazire, we're not playing you, although he has he won this golf course before? Remember? Adam Schenk, we're gonna go ahead and say nay on that one. Yeah, don't care. Yeah, I'm not playing any Sabatini. I'm not gonna play any Brian Gay. I probably won't be playing any Sebastian Munoz. Probably playing some Brian Harmon. Danny McCarthy is an interesting play. Okay, well, got rid of a bunch of golfers just because of their 5s and 6s. Not to say some of them might not finish in the top 10. We'll find some in the top 10, and it might be the wrong X's that I have, but this will help me again narrow it down even more. So now I have 62 golfers to choose from. I'm gonna choose more of the the light greens, then going to the yellows, then going to the oranges. As you can see, some of these golfers here. And the good thing, okay, so there's CT Pan. I like CT Pan. Who is he playing with? Like, is he with Jason Day? Sorry, that's not gonna help. And he's playing with Joaquin Neiman and Jason Day. Okay. So then what I'm going to do is CT Pan. I'll put him in some of these Jason Day lineups just because. I'll probably help out the salary here, going with those guys. And I'll put him in some of these other lineups where he's not with Jason Day, just because it's good to have at least one, or whatever, anything that can help salary basically. So here, yeah, that's fine. I'll put him there. Down here, that can help with 7,700. That up a little bit. I mean that's again, that's what I like to do. So I'm gonna leave it here. We're not gonna go further into it. This one's fairly short compared to other videos. Most of it is because we don't have grass stats, we don't have last week's scores, we don't have the combination between the two, so that's why it's going to be quicker. But I like this. This is good. I'd like to be faster through these anyways. I do like long form discussion, but yeah, at least I'll get you some minutes back for your day, 15 at least. Thank you for watching. Leave a like, subscribe if you haven't, leave a comment. If you have questions, please leave a comment. You can always email me at sweetspotdfs@gmail.com. I also have a Twitter, so you guys can obviously follow me there and see when I post new videos. Other than that, I hope you guys do well this week. Good luck, and hopefully your screens are green.